This is Ducks Hockey on Fire with Coach P and Henry, your home for Anaheim Ducks fan talk.
The Nashville Predators visit the Honda Center tonight. Ryan Getzlaf has some harsh words, and the science of ice. 16,000 elementary and middle school students converged on the Honda Center yesterday and learned from the Ducks players. Let me ask you something, Henry. We got the Preds coming in tonight, and I like their team. You know, they're 32-24-9, third in the Central Division with 73 points. They're a good, hard-working hockey team.
That's right. Good morning, Ducks fans. Good morning, Mike. I'm excited for this game tonight. It presents a rematch of us of last year's playoff round, and we all know the disappointment that came with that in 7 games, and I think the Ducks have a lot to prove tonight, and especially off of coming off the 2-1 loss. But I don't know who on that team to you sticks out as a guy that can really hurt us.
Well, Philip Forsberg obviously jumps to the front of to the forefront right away. I'm a huge fan of his, but I also like I'm a Mike Fisher fan. I think he's a heck of a hard-working hockey player, and that's just kind of the makeup is guys like that on their team that just get after it. And of course, with the newly acquired PK Subban. His flamboyance, and I enjoy him. PK's he's just one of those guys that either you like him or you don't.
Yeah, he gets the fans going out of his seat. It was nice to see the tribute they gave to him in Montreal last week, and you could see the tears kind of running down his face, and that was cool to see because they loved him there as I have for a while, but. He brought like a little bit of spunk to the Predators that I think you're seeing on the back end there that Weber didn't necessarily have. Weber's a guy that's very, very sturdy. He's an amazing offensive defenseman, but he's not as much of a puck moving defenseman as Subban, and I think that's what the Preds needed. And it took them a little time to find their way and sort of find their identity. But yeah, they're going pretty good right now.
Absolutely. So. Last night, around the NHL, probably a little bit of a stunner. The Stars took down the Capitals in Washington 4-2. A big game for the Stars, who are a very capable hockey team, and they got the best of the Capitals, who've been playing some really good hockey.
Huge game, especially. With their home streak, the Caps had a big home streak going, and Dallas come into the Verizon Center. It's definitely not an easy place to come in and get 2 points, and they played a classic road hockey game. It was kind of boring from Dallas's point of view, but they don't care. They got 4 goals out of it, and that's how you got to do it some nights. And they're sort of out of the playoff picture. And they got to really make a push if they want any sort of chance right now. They pretty much have to win. I would say probably 80-90% of their games here. So it's good for them to keep pushing.
And then the Bees, the Boston Bruins, traveled to Ottawa, and the I don't want to say red hot, but the hot Ottawa Senators took down Boston 4-2. And there's something going on there. They got a nice group.
Ottawa's coming up. They've just won 3 in a row now. They finally got their goal differential to a positive for the first time in a while this season, and they're a bit of a surprise to me, especially with was it Clark MacArthur who had a concussion at the beginning of the season?
Yep.
And you feel for that guy too because it was in training camp. It was a dirty hit, but from a prospect, I don't know if you saw it.
I did not.
And then Bobby Ryan actually dropped a mitts with him in training. And it sucks because he's a leader on their team, but it just shows you the grit that they have in their lineup and the depth that they have to sort of keep pushing. Then
in Tampa, the Rangers go to town and they pull out a 1-0 overtime win. That's the kind of hockey that the Rangers can play.
I gotta say, even though I'm living in Manhattan, I am the furthest thing from a Rangers fan, and so I hate to see the Rangers win, especially against Tampa. Tampa's a sort of a second home for me, so it was a close game though, and overtime this year, all the overtime games have been spectacular.
And then the Sharks travel to Winnipeg and get a 3-2 win. Of course, Pavelski 2 goals last night, so he keeps as a captain. He keeps just plugging away. He's not flashy by any means, but he finds a way to get on the score sheet every night.
That's right. Tonight we have a ton of games on the slate. I think there's about 12 in total. The most important one, I think, for us to look at, obviously, is the Ducks-Preds, but Edmonton Islanders, I think that could be an interesting game. Edmonton's right above us, and we need to kind of keep plugging away there, and the Islanders are pretty hot right now, too. Any games tonight that sort of you're going to keep an eye on?
Yeah, for sure. I want to take a look and see how the Canucks do against the Canadiens. So that's, they come down and get 2 from the Kings and the Ducks, and now they're going to go home, and let's see if they can continue their winning ways.
That's right. They just had 4 huge points against 2 big Western clubs.
Yep.
So should be very interesting.
Then the Blues travel to the Wild, Devils to the Blue Jackets, Flyers to the Sabres. I'll keep an eye on that one as well. Red Wings, Maple Leafs in a classic original 6 clash in Toronto. Rangers, Panthers, of course, we'll keep an eye on that, see if Yager can score another goal and defy all odds. I'm actually really enjoying keeping tabs on them. And then the Hurricanes travel to the I don't want to say lowly, but travel to the Avalanche. I hate to say it because I look at their team and I there's several players on that club in Colorado that I really like, and right now they just happen to be the doormat of everybody. They just can't get it together for some reason.
That's right. I mean, you look at a player like Nathan McKinnon, who is probably one of the best young talents in the league, and Landeskog and Duchesne and these guys are young, so they're learning, and it's tough to see them go through that. Iginla mentioned it when he got traded, and he said, I've never been a part of something like that in my career, and he admitted how tough it was, and they're sitting there with 37 points at the bottom of the NHL, sort of almost an exact flip record of Minnesota, who are 42-15, and Colorado are 17-44. So it is laughable in a way, but yeah, you don't. I mean, it's a franchise that's in major rebuild mode, and I think they'll make some big moves this offseason. I think you'll see one of their really big pieces get moved. Landeskog or Duchesne. I think McKinnon's safe. He's sort of a franchise piece for them unless they get something crazy. But they definitely need to make some moves this offseason to sort of put them into the next phase of the rebuild.
So tonight, 7 p.m. at the Honda Center, the Preds come to the Ducks. The Preds are 32-24-9, like I mentioned before. Ducks 33-22-10. I'm excited for this game. I'm excited to see if the Ducks can bounce back. This is, listen, it's one thing to lose a game that maybe you should have won, but it's another thing to get back and get at it and change the makeup and get back to winning ways. And that's what playoff-type teams do. And I'm really looking forward to see the effort and the style of game that's going to be played by the Ducks tonight.
Yeah, Getzlaf said it in his post-game interview, and I liked what he said about that it's just one game that we played really badly, because I think a lot of the focus was on the Vancouver game, and everybody quickly forgot how well we played against the Maple Leafs. And that was a solid game, and I think the Ducks realized that they sort of carried that on in the third period against the Canucks, but you can't just take a sleeper for 40 minutes.
Well, the interesting thing to me about Nashville right now is that they have 12 players that have over 20 points, a pretty balanced scoring attack. Starting out with Ryan Johansson, Philip Forsberg, Victor Arvidsson, and they just have a group of guys that just go, get after it, get up and down the ice, work, get to loose pucks, get to the front of the net, bang in rebound goals. And I think that's, I think the Ducks can take a little lesson from the style of hockey that's played. But again, 12 guys with over 20 points. 3 of those guys are defensemen, Subban, Ellis, and Ekholm, who are all 3 of them have over 20 points. I think it's exciting times to watch the Preds right now.
Yeah, I've always loved their grit. You saw it especially highlighted when we played them last year in the playoffs. They're 2 big teams, 2 teams that can go toe-to-toe with each other, but Nashville really seemed to outwork us throughout that whole series. Guys like Mike Fisher, guys like Ryan Johansson, who's an underrated forward in my book. He's sort of having a coming-out party in Nashville, but he's an underrated workhorse who really produces in a lot of key situations. Colin Wilson is another one of those guys who sort of will just fly by you, dig the puck out of the zone before you know it's in the back of the net, and it may not be flashy, but Colin Wilson's always been a really favorite player of mine in the NHL as a whole. So the Ducks need to come out tonight and no playing around. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of the excuses of no 60 minutes. Got to keep playing for the. But it's about time to go and do it. We haven't won consecutive games since January 15th, and I think a lot of other Ducks fans, along with you and I, are starting to get a little ticked off.
And then on the back end, in net for Nashville, they have probably one of the most consummate professionals out there, Pekka Rinne, and then the combination of him and his Finnish partner, Jussi Saros. Those guys, they got a nice little tandem going, where Rinne has played 49 games, Saros has played 16. Rinne has a .914. Saros has a .925 save percentage. They do a good job there between the pipes.
Yep, Rinne is a perennial candidate for the Vezina Trophy. He's having another great year this year, and the 1-2 punch is great. I think they have as good as a goalie tandem in the league. Who's getting the start in net tonight? Do you know?
No, I have not heard, so I don't think it's been announced at this point. So, I would suspect Rinne, but unless he's nursing something, and they're going to try to save him a little bit for the push, but I would suspect Rinne.
Yeah, he's every game we have against him, it definitely goes one or two ways. We get nothing by him, or we seem to blow him out of the water, and he normally gets yanked. That's my memory of games against Rinne. So hopefully it's the latter.
Yeah. And then on our side, the Anaheim Ducks side, we have 10 players with over 20 points. Getzlaf with 49, Kessler 47, Corey Perry 11-31-42, Silverberg 18-21-39, Raquel, who's in my mind is having a breakout year with putting the puck in the net, 26-10-36. And then we have Fowler and Vatanen on the back end with 11-20-31 for Cam, and then 3-17-20 for Sammy. So again, a balanced scoring attack on our side as well. But I sure would like to see a few of those other guys jump into onto the scoring sheet a little bit more.
Yeah, I think it's time for a little bit more of the depth scoring. I think Eves is going to help with that, because then we can spread them around a little bit. But it's Corey Perry's time. It's already 3 games back from the break, and he hasn't got a goal. It should start to worry everybody a little bit if he keeps this up, because then if he's not going to get hot by the playoffs, someone's going to have to pick up the slack. And if that's Silverberg and Raquel, so be it. They're both having amazing years, and Raquel is poised to break the 30-goal plateau for the first time in his career. And Silverberg, every point here from here out is a new career high, goal or assist. So those two guys, for me, are crucial going down the stretch, especially tonight against a team that has scoring power from all directions.
And a couple of quotes of note from Getzlaf and Randy Carlyle. I just wanted to kind of bring these up. Getzlaf was quoted as saying, "On learning from mistakes, as long as our group takes on the playoff mentality right now, learning from our mistakes and moving on, that's what playoff hockey is." So, I like those words from the captain. I hope the rest of the team and Getzlaf himself takes heed of those words and is ready for tonight.
Yeah, and I like what he said at the end. Is like, we have to fight for a playoff spot, and I know the Ducks have been sort of clearing a way into the playoffs recently, but everybody's getting tight, and I think there's a somewhat certainty that the Ducks will get in there because every year we seem to get it done. But as a leader, to hear that, it's reassuring that they have the mentality that they're not in it yet, and nothing is secure, and they know that this lackluster play, if they keep it up, they will end up on the outside, and some big players will not be in Anaheim next September.
And then Carlisle was quoted as saying, and he corroborates what we talked about yesterday. We didn't show enough desperation until the third period. We allowed them too much freedom on the ice. They played give-and-go hockey, and it was like we were chasing the game for the first 40 minutes, and it's exactly what we saw as well.
Yeah, exactly like we talked about. Coming out sluggish from the gate, not ready, the legs weren't underneath them. There's no excuse. You know it as a coach, I know it as a player. You have to be ready from the start, or you're going to get smoked. So the Ducks need to instill that mentality, and I think it starts with the players. I think Carlisle can bag skate him as much as he wants and harp on him in the room and say this and that, but it starts with the players and coming out with a strong effort tonight. So
let's take a look at the Preds lineup here for tonight. Projected Ryan Johansson will center Philip Forsberg and Victor Arvidsson. I like that first line. Fisher will center Fiala and Smith. Jam Croc will center Wilson and James Neal. Another player that I really like, James Neal. He's a guy to keep an eye on here tonight. And then Verdon Fiddler will center Cody McLeod and Austin Watson. Defensive pairings, Ekholm, Subban, Yossi, Irwin, and then Boteto and Yannick Weber will round out the back end with Rennie and Saros between the pipes. Right now, Ryan Ellis is out, and so is Mika Salamaki. So a well-balanced lineup for the Preds.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Anthony Boteto. About 3 summers ago, I was playing men's league with him at Chelsea Piers in Manhattan during the summer when he was a prospect on the Flyers. So it's cool to see. I had no idea who he was either. So it's cool to see him in the NHL, and he's playing really well for the Preds. So yeah, definitely a strong lineup tonight for them. And on the Ducks side, I think they're going to go with a similar lineup to the last game. Maybe a little shake up on the third line with Raquel, but we'll see, right?
Well, right now, as it stands, again, as we know, Kessler with Cogliano, Silverberg, Getzlaf, Eves, and Kasha, and then Raquel, Ritchie, and Perry. Which I do. I like that line. I do. I think that could be something. They just got to find a way to produce on a nightly basis, and of course, Nate Thompson with Shaw and Wagner. We could potentially see a change there, but we're still waiting for Antoine Vermette to get back into the lineup against the Caps. coming Sunday, right? Sunday night. Yep.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I'm pumped for his return. But I like Raquel, Richie Perry. Raquel, Richie, and Perry all have different sort of traits that make them really complementary. I think Raquel is a playmaker and a sniper. Perry is obviously a gritty goal scorer, and Richie is a guy who is a puck possession guy who will go in there, bang bodies, get the puck, keep it cycling, and keep the play alive. So they complement each other great on paper. It's just time to put it into action.
Then on the back end, Fowler, Bieksa, Lindholm, Manson, Vatanen, Montour. What I was sure would like to see tonight is a real simple game from those guys, making good, solid first passes, getting pucks up, getting on their opportunities. They're going to get over the red. They're going to get it deep. And pick and choose times to get into the play, because it just seems to me that every time we start playing a consistent type of game, maybe one of these guys jumps into the play and something happens and the other team gets a good bounce and the one guy leaves one of their D partners out to dry, or a forward's got to pick up for somebody, and I sure would like to see just a solid effort by the back end tonight.
Yeah, they need to get more involved in the play and also be good shutdown defensemen, and help our goalie out for once here. I think there's been a couple odd man breaks in the last couple of games that we need to focus in on and play a really solid game from the net out tonight.
And then Bernier and Enroth between the pipes. We're still waiting for the return of John Gibson, who's on the injury list with Simone Dupree and then Clayton Stoner. So obviously I would suspect we're going to go with Bernier, but I don't know. We'll see what kind of decision Randy Carlo makes. I wasn't particularly happy with Bernier's game the other night.
Yeah, we talked about it, and I think I was going to mention, I wouldn't be really opposed to seeing Enroth in the net tonight, and I think to some extent he's earned at least a game, and maybe the Preds aren't the team to give him a go against, but he's an NHL goalie, and that's why he's there. So if given Bernier's performance, if I'm Randy Carlyle, I think I give Enroth the nod tonight.
So just a little side note here, at the Honda Center yesterday, the Anaheim Ducks and their kids club put on an event for 16,000 screaming elementary and middle school kids. They call it the Science of Ice, and actually the Ducks players were out there in a part of the event. So, and then they had a skills competition for the kids at the end, which I heard was very exciting. But another great showing for the Ducks organization in the community, and just a pretty neat thing for the kids to be a part of.
It's always a great event, and actually, it's quite funny on Twitter. Eric Stevens, who's the beat reporter for the Orange County Register, was throwing some shade at the Ducks fans, and he tweeted out a couple days ago. He said, on Monday, the largest crowd of the year and the loudest crowd of the year will come to Honda Center. And it's 16,000 kids. I think he's probably right. Come on, Ducks fans, get to the games early and get in your seats. We're sick of seeing empty front rows.
Well, they actually interviewed Nate Thompson on NHL Now yesterday afternoon, and even Nate said himself that it was a good time. He enjoyed the whole event, and he said it was very loud. The kids were. He said it was as loud as he had heard it all year there.
I don't doubt it. I think it's really cool for the kids, and it's such a cool way to incorporate the science in their school with a bit of fun with the Ducks, and it's great awareness for the Ducks, getting kids involved in the game early. It's just one of those really cool things that the sports team do in that area to get the community involved.
And then some news out of Vegas. What are you hearing?
Yeah, well, as of yesterday, they signed their first ever franchise player, Reed Duke, to a 3-year entry-level contract, and Yeah, it's a cool move. I think he's a 21-year-old kid. He's playing in Brandon for the Wheat Kings.
Yep, WHL.
And he's a solid performer. He's over a point per game there, and obviously it's a huge step from OHL to the NHL, as Dylan Strome can tell you on the Arizona Coyotes. He's had a tough transition, and he was McDavid's line partner, scoring as many points as McDavid, and he's struggled to make a dent in the NHL. So it's different for every player, but it's really cool for Vegas. Bill Foley got the team closed on the first, and now he's making moves, and it's cool that we can start seeing their faces.
There's a connection there with Kelly McCrimmon and Duke. So it was an easy sign for them. Just from my perspective, I would think it's a long shot for Duke to make the team ultimately, but an easy first move for the Knights. Are we calling them the Knights, or are they the Black Knights, or what are we calling them?
I think the Vegas Knights, or are they Golden Knights?
I'm not sure. We'll figure that out and talk about it tomorrow, huh?
Yeah.
But anyway, just my perspective and my opinion. Obviously, Duke having a good year in Brandon or the Western Hockey League, but I think it's great that he's going to get an opportunity and a shot, and maybe this is his one opportunity to break into it. So, but I think it would be a difficult road to make a NHL lineup next year for him. He would have to spend a little bit of time in the AHL.
Yeah, I agree. It's a development stage, and you don't want to rush your players' development. And that can always be a bad thing, especially if they puts a dagger in their confidence. You don't want that at the NHL level, because that just leads to shy plays and injuries, and just it's downhill from there. So I think you're right. I think this kid, to have some growing pains and then be probably a part of the future in Vegas for sure.
For myself, Coach P, and my co-host Henry, it's a great day for Ducks hockey.
Thanks, Ducks fans. Have a great day. Let's go Ducks.
That's it for this week's edition of Ducks Hockey on Fire. Join us next week as we talk about the latest in Anaheim Ducks hockey.